Why the hell is Bradley and Savannah still together? Because I feel like these two needed to break up like yesterday. Every single time they're around each other, it seems like neither one of them can stand each other. It seems like they bring out the absolute worst in each other. Do you guys remember Savannah's first season? She was always laughing, joking, smiling, always had a positive attitude. But now, since Bradley's been out, she's just been a little negative Nancy the whole time. And I feel like she's kind of turning into a controlling girlfriend, and she's cranking it up to 11. And I think she thinks she's coming across as a supportive girlfriend. But in my opinion, I feel like it's coming across as her supporting her need to control every single aspect of his life. And I feel like she sees him more as a project instead of a partner, and the project needs constant micromanagement. And I know she just wants the best for him, but she's pushing him away by being way too involved with everything and having a constant opinion about everything. I think she thinks she's being like a supportive girlfriend, but instead it's coming across as a resentful mother, the way she's treating and talking to Bradley at times. Bradley's not no angel either. He sat there and got into a fight with Savannah and then dips out, takes her car, even though it's not even his and not even legally Savannah's, and just dips out to go on a little drive. And then finally, after his sister was blowing him up, he decides to come back, and he pulls up, and Savannah comes out and she still has an attitude, and she's like, what do you want? And Bradley's like, well, we still have that lawsuit. Apparently Bradley wants to sue the DOC because he feels like he dealt with some injustices. And I feel like this is something the producers probably convinced him of, because we've seen several other cast members go and meet up with lawyers for similar things. And I mean, we've seen people be like successful, like Chris, for example. He got thousands from, I mean, it wasn't when he was on the show, but he got thousands from suing the prison because I guess he got beat up by the guards. But I think this was pushed by the producers because Bradley really didn't even seem to know much about this case. He's just like, yeah, they did me dirty. But I don't think he really like read up on any law books or did any like deep research on this before going to see the lawyer, because once they pulled up, the lawyer was like, okay, well, what happened that was so injustice? Bradley explained that he would feel like the COs were picking on him and singling him out, and then when Bradley would complain about it, the same officer would respond to his complaints. But I think a lot of that just has to do with them being short-staffed and stuff like that. And I mean, I've been locked up before and I've experienced that same thing and same frustration. But at the end of the day, as soon as he said that, I was like, okay, yeah, but I'm not going to have any kind of case unless he can prove that that officer tried to get some kind of revenge after finding out that he put this incident report in, because that's the only way that they can show that the same officer getting the report and handling it that the report was on was injustice. But Bradley had no proof of that. And I think Bradley should have spent some time locked up reading some law library books. And even Savannah was sitting there like with a smirk on her face, like, I told this dumbass. And I think that's another reason why she was so frustrated, because I feel like she probably knew that Bradley really hadn't done his due diligence or research to prepare himself to go see this lawyer and know if it's even worth the time to drive all the way out there and see this, because if he would have did a little bit more research, then maybe he wouldn't have had to do that whole trip. I could tell from the jump when he was first explaining it that he didn't have him no case, and he was sitting there trying to say, oh yeah, they're peeking on me in the shower thinking I was in there with somebody when I wasn't. Well, hell, after we found out about you being on Grindr allegedly, I wouldn't be surprised if you were having other people in your shower at one point, and maybe that's why they're singling you out, because they knew you were up to some funny business with some of the other cellmates. That is just pure speculation. I don't know, but that could explain his harassment. I kind of feel like that's the reason why Bradley becomes so triggered when Savannah is constantly on him and has to constantly have an opinion about every little thing, because it's triggering him, because it's making him feel like he's dealing with a warden again. Then the lawyer suddenly went from being a lawyer to suddenly trying to be a relationship therapist. She's like, yeah, so besides that, how have things been with you guys since he's been out of prison and trying to get adjusted? And Bradley just took advantage of the moment to say, look, I've been going through it. You know, I just feel like she's always on me. I don't have time to breathe. I need my space. Everything I do is wrong. And the lawyer was like, yeah, that sounds a little hectic. I think you guys need some time apart. And then once they got back in the car, Bradley was sitting there talking to Savannah, and he didn't immediately tell her that he wanted space, but Savannah still had a chip on her shoulder. Everything that Bradley was saying to her, she had an attitude about, because she was still mad, I think, about him stealing the car. So, I mean, she does have a right to be mad. But Savannah was not being pleasant to be around whatsoever. And Bradley, it seemed like, you know, he was driving at least for a few minutes trying to talk to her before he realized that there's just no turning things around. And I think that Savannah doesn't realize how much her demeanor can push people away at times. Because the way Savannah can talk when she's mad, she's just constantly throwing shades and little slick remarks in with everything that she's saying. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of like Bradley. If I'm around someone, like if they're mad, okay, like you can be mad, we can talk it out for a few minutes, get things off our chest. But if we're going on like 30 plus minutes and you're still mad and going off, then I think that maybe it's best to have some space to let things cool down. But Bradley just didn't want space. He said he was completely moving out and he was going to move in with his dad. So he drove himself to his dad's house, jumps out, told Savannah bye Felicia, and said she was acting like a straight up bitch. And then Savannah drove herself home and she calls Bradley's sister and she's like, yeah, Bradley said that he's moving in with his daddy. But I don't know how legit he's being, because he left his Xbox at my house and we know how much he loves that thing and what that means, that he's at least going to be coming back for that, or he doesn't have plans to fully move out if he's not worried about all his belongings. At this point, I think they both need to just go their separate ways, and that's probably what's best for them at this point, because they are not good for each other whatsoever, and they have no business being together. And relationships shouldn't have to be that hard. You shouldn't have to be that freaking irritated around the person that's supposed to be your partner all the time. They should make you happy and make you your best version of yourself, and I don't see that with either one of these two. And there's rumors, I guess other people have been trying to say that Savannah and Bradley are coming back for Life After Lockup. I don't know though, because I personally went to my source and I was told that they were not coming back. But I don't know, maybe they just filmed so much footage with Love After Lockup that they decided to use some of the extra footage for Life After Lockup. I don't know, but I guess we'll learn here soon, because this season only has a few more episodes left, and typically once the season ends we get the full cast for Life After Lockup. But I know about 3/4 of the cast already, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.